takes a lot of rebellion to muster the courage to know what to do with it, to walk a path of purpose. And then how do I merge this together, not from a place of fight, but from a place of grace.
Less grit, more grace, right?
Yeah. In order to make something look easy from really far away, it takes so many hours of practice, of dedication, sweat and tears. Surrender is not being weak. We understand it as being very strong. It's hard to surrender to the path of the heart. It's not an easy thing to do, to choose yourself in a world that dictates who you should be and how you should be.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Many Firsts, the podcast where we explore the power of first-time experiences and share transformative and inspirational moments in our lives. I'm your host, Regula Fischer, and I'm super happy to be here today live in the studio with Genevieve. Welcome, Genevieve.
Thank you so much for having me, Reggie. It's a pleasure to be here.
This morning, right? I mean, it's maybe not so early anymore. I don't know how you feel about it, but how has your day been so far, as short as it may have been?
It's been delicious. So I had my morning wake up, my morning practice, breakfast, and I've just been in the zone of this podcast because I feel it's so important to come with authenticity. So I didn't want to look at my phone and the gazillion messages that I had. So I feel great.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for zoning in with us. You are an entrepreneur, a startup investor, and also a mystic, and the founder of the Embodied Humans Academy. And your experience, if we talk in terms of, let's say, professional and making a living, ranges from real estate to well-being. And you are also a former professional triathlete and a surfer, a passionate surfer. And I recall when you once said it's very important for you to catch your waves. So shall we catch the wave of this conversation?
Yes, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Yeah, I like to take another term that I learned from you, which is soul rebel. I think, is that what you would consider yourself? And I find it interesting because soul and rebel is somehow very different, but yeah, could you elaborate on that in terms of your journey, your life?
Yes, absolutely.
Why soul rebel?
Soul rebel. If we use the term soul rebel, spiritual warrior, these are very polarizing terms expressing the duality that we have, that we live in this world as a human. So for me, being a soul rebel or being a spiritual warrior is all about finding our freedom within everything that we do, finding our passion and also fighting for our passion, fighting for our freedom, fighting for our sovereignty, not in a way of, going to war, but really being authentic with ourselves and being true to ourselves. That's what I mean about being a soul rebel and not following what is imposed upon us from society, but really stepping into our bigger shoes and embodying everything that we came here to embody in this life.
That's beautiful. Maybe if we go into a bit more, some details from your life and your personal journey with these dualities, which one was more prominent maybe at what time, or do they come, are they both present at all times? How did you even become aware of these two?
That's a really good question.
Poles.
How long do we have for me to answer that?
you take your time.
I could go on and on.
We love stories.
So, okay, let me think. The first part of my life felt really artistic, connected to soul, connected to creativity, expression, dance, art, painting, piano, all of that. And then I got into sports. And as soon as I got into sports, I tapped into more of the ninja world or the warrior world, and that discipline. And not that there's no discipline in like learning how to play piano, for example, but it's very different in terms of mindset. So from a very young age, I was called to spirituality. I think I got that from my dad, who was like talking to me about the trees, in our yard and how they develop and, what it is to be a mentor in life. My dad being a teacher and an entrepreneur as well. And so I feel like the first part of my life was really soul connected. Then the sports and academic studies, that was more about being a warrior. And then after my first injury, which stopped me from being a triathlete, my first big injury, and when I found my yogic path, I'm going to say it like that, that's where the two terms, soul rebel, really came to life as far as what it means to undo the personality that we've created for ourselves and really do the shadow work to find ourselves again in a truer essence, a more aligned essence. And that takes a lot of rebellion to muster the courage to go through that, and also to rise from it and to know what to do with it, to walk a path of purpose. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I'm thinking, so it sounds to me also like integrating, right? Both. I mean, the way you're describing it to me, it sounded a bit like there was a first phase, then a second phase, and then the third is kind of both have their kind of space, and you navigate it kind of more fluidly instead of having it in a series, like one after the next.
Exactly. That's the first thing I putting myself into boxes. This was my creative box. This was my athletic box. And the more that I've evolved on my spiritual journey, what I found is I'll refer to it as first nature, second nature, and third nature. So my first nature was this artistic expression, or developing that first personality, and then growing into my second nature of also gaining the arms and the skills that I need in the world to be in the world as a warrior, as a ninja, stepping into my power. And then how do I merge this together, not from a place of fight, but from a place of grace.
Yeah, that's
and
beautiful.
That is the third nature that I would call more spiritual, where we unite the duality, where we get into non-dualism.
I think you also once mentioned what you're kind of working towards or working on, or what's a theme for you is less grit, more grace, right?
Yeah.
And interestingly, grace always makes me think of ballet, the grace. I mean, it's hard work and it looks so gracefully. That's maybe also something we can use as a metaphor for life, right? It's definitely not always easy, but the grace that we bring to it is, in the end, I think also how we inspire others.
Absolutely. So the grit and the grace, for me, grace, and I was talking about that this week with my executive coach, and he was like, but how is grace powerful? I was like, well, I mean, in order to make something look easy, let's say you are performing ballet on a stage, in order to make something look easy from really far away so that the last person watching you in the back row can feel the grace, can feel inspired, it takes so many hours of practice, of dedication, sweat and tears, so that we can emanate that energy. It's not just something we do, it's something we are, it's something we become. And for me, grit is, it's the passion, it's the drive, but there's a lot of doing. And the grace is,
the being,
the essence of being.
And probably also a bit of surrender comes to my mind, just to what is in a moment. And there may be a lot of work behind something, but in the end, the moment is there. We may be performing one day in one way or the other, and that's the way it is, and accepting that and being okay with that.
Absolutely. It's all about that. I'm just going to say it like that. It's all about learning to be and learning to surrender. And surrender is not, in the spiritual community or in the modern world, modern spirituality, I'm going to say it like that. When we hear the term surrender, a lot of people think about it as being weak. But I think for anyone who's gone on their own personal transformational journey, we understand it as being very strong. It's finding the resilience. It's hard to surrender. It's hard to surrender to the path of the heart. It's not an easy thing to do, to choose yourself in a world that dictates who you should be and how you should be.
Yeah. It's interesting that back to what you were describing about the, let's say, the artistic phase of your life and the sports. How did that transition happen? I mean, what inspired you to go more into sports? Was it maybe also a bit of curiosity about that part? And what also comes to my mind was the first a bit more, I mean, art, I'm saying now mind, and then the body came more to the focus. I know that mind is super important for professional sports as well. And for sure, the body is also important in arts in a span, and it's kind of not very clear-cut boundaries probably. But yeah, can you remember when you started feeling that calling and why you were dedicated or committed to dedicate so much to it?
Yeah, I think it's... I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a, like I refer to it as like I'm a Skywalker. I want to do everything full spectrum.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Right? So I went to a musical school. So when I grew up, I was at musical school and everything that was brought to me was art. Do you want to take part in this and that? And because I'm an only child, I didn't have like a bigger brother, like playing football or something like that, So I started in that path. And then the turning point, there's no big trigger. I danced a lot when I was a kid. So that was still artistic and athletic. There was a mix of that. But then I started when I went to high school. That's when there was a shift. And I think it was just the conditioning and the environment I was in that became more athletic and less focused on music. It was like I had done that spiral, that first integration of, okay, this is your artistic self. You can carry that out. Now it's time to start something else. So when I discovered sports, I first started, I played tennis, and then I was synchronized swimmer, and then just like a whole bunch of things. Then it opened the door to a new world. And for me, I was like, I need to discover this world and go all in. So in all the other high schools that I've been to, it was heavily oriented into sports. So I gravitated towards that and became, like captain of my team and all this for different disciplines. And that was the switch. So it's all about, for me, discovering different worlds. And that's how it all happened until I got injured. And that opened a door to another first, to another exploration of the world of spirituality.
And these moments of transitioning then from, I would imagine that, you're a professional sports person, you're very dedicated, and then something stops you. And just, again, surrendering, I mean, and redefining yourself. How quickly do such things happen? Probably not that fast. But what helps you in these transitions?
I've always had the belief that the body can do anything. Like, we are infinite. And I think that's what's been really helpful in these transitions, to remember that there are solutions. There might not be perfection, but there are solutions. There is a way forward. And reminding yourself that there is a way forward when you're like laying down on a bed and you cannot get up, you cannot go to the bathroom, you cannot do anything by yourself. That was the sentence. That was the way for me to be like, I'm going to find a way out. No matter what the echoes in the environments are, I'm going to find a way out of this. So understanding that when we are in deep transitions or doing deep work, going back to asking, like the surrender is really acceptance for me. It was acceptance of what is. Like, it's not like, you know, from an injury to the next day, I know I can't go back to triathlon. Like, I can't walk, I can't get up, right? But just remembering that I need to accept that, because acceptance for me is the first step into opening a new door of reality and showing the way forward. So receiving, I need to open a door so I can receive answers, so I can receive a way. And that is the energy of surrender.
That's beautiful. And how much did you also get support from outside, from, let's say, other human beings, versus doing the work, the inner work yourself, you know? Were there both components?
Are you referring specifically to that injury, to that incident, or in general?
Yeah, probably both.
Yeah.
But let's start with the injury. I mean,
not very much support at all. At the beginning, because, you know, coming from my hometown in Quebec, that's where I was when the injury happened. And I remember going to my doctor like right away, because I was working at the desk, and all of a sudden I got up and I couldn't walk. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not good. And what do I do? And my doctor told me, you know, there's nothing that you can do. It's going to take time for you to heal, and we're going to see if we can do anything. But one thing is for sure, you can forget now about being a triathlete, and you can forget about surfing. So that was somebody, instead of supporting me and nurturing and saying, hey, we're going to find a way forward, and infusing energy of, I believe in you, I believe in healing. It was really clashing and crashing my world. So that's the energy I was met with. So in my beautiful fire that I have in my personality, I said, all right, I'm on my own, and I'm going to take this journey on my own, because this is not, I cannot interact with this mentality. And that's what I chose to do. So really, I found all of the alternative health and practitioners that finally worked with me. I created my own team. I found my own breath techniques, and I found my way back to walking, to running, and to surfing by myself. Yeah. And not that I want to be clear, not that there's not amazing people that are there to support you. They are, but you really have to find your way first and then call them in. That's what I mean.
So you are basically back to how it was before in that sense, but you do not practice sports in the same way. Has something shifted for you, or you were just eager to go back to, okay, as soon as I can do again what I did before, or you took something out of that you didn't go back?
It completely changed my life, and it's not because I didn't like triathlon anymore. I was thinking about retiring from the discipline and the sport. And for me, when this injury happened, it was like hitting a wall. And that was a clear sign. I'm like, oh, I'm done with this in the way that I've been doing it. So I can continue doing it for fun. But this is no longer a definition of me. So it was also a death, an ego death of I associate with, I am this, I'm this professional athlete. And there's several, experiences like that I've had in my life where it's just like, okay, I'm like cutting this arm off, and now I'm just becoming something else. And so it just propelled me into more really studying the world of healing, holistic healing, and how we can use the technology of our own body to heal from basically anything.
That's probably also the name of your academy, right? Embodied Humans.
Embodied Humans, yeah.
Something that I'm curious about, you said you can do triathlon for fun. For someone who doesn't do it, it's just like, these guys are crazy. I mean, but what's the fun for you in triathlon? I do fully understand that there must be. I mean, otherwise
there's got to be. Otherwise, I mean, no, we're all there because we want to torture ourselves and we want to suffer. but and that's funny, you know, for me.
Some of it is that, but yeah.
It is that, but it is about overcoming something within ourselves. And I feel that I transitioned also because I didn't need that anymore. I didn't need to put my body to extreme training of, 6 hours a day and then working 2 jobs and overextending myself in that way in order to know my value, know my place, know my belonging in the world, and feel like I'm accomplished in the world. But to do it for fun is, I love these disciplines. I'm a woman of water, so I love being in the water, like cycling, being outside, and being able to merge 3 disciplines together skillfully, for me, is an art. It is an act of grace. But to do it and finish a race with a smile and with a body that feels good and doesn't feel broken for the next 2 weeks, that's fun to me. That's like, yes, I feel alive. But I wouldn't do, an Iron Woman, an Iron Man, for example, for fun. Like, that is no longer my description of
it. May also not be responsible, to just say, okay, let me do just for fun. But I think we know what to. What comes to my mind also is self-love. But before we go there, I'm thinking, this could be very inspiring for other athletes. Are you working with athletes?
I am. Good. I'm working with different athletes in different realms, and it's so good because to have these conversations, because no matter what discipline we're in, we all hit walls, we all have injuries, we all have a moment of, is this really like what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Athletes usually have a shortish career. It depends in which discipline, and then what's next. So what I love to do, I love to prepare my athletes for big wave surfing or deep water diving, and help them with that mental preparation and with breath work and all this. But I love to work with them in the transition from being an athlete to the next chapter, because there's a whole gap there that a lot of people don't address. And it's really easy for a lot of people to fall into despair because, you're used to performing at such high level. And then you're like, oh, now I'm going to write a book, or and it's just not the same thing. Yeah. So we really have to redefine what that passion is, what that drive is, and grow a new arm, grow new legs, and do something else.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. And I've seen articles and so on about former sports people that really struggle with that transition. So it's good that in this way it turned into a gift that you can share with others, right? Self-love, we talked about it. When I listen to you, I feel like, okay, there's so many things you seem to be doing, right? Like coaching people, then you mentioned all these, just with water sports, what all you're doing. I guess you have space for all of that in your life. How do you do that? And we can connect it to self-love. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but how do you make sure that you stay sane and healthy in mind and body in this? And do you always stay sane? That's the question.
No. Okay,
good.
So I'm going to answer that right away. No one's perfect. No one's always in balance. I'm not always in balance in grace. And that's the power of practice. It's when you have a regular practice, when you show up to your mat or whatever your practice is, and you notice, wow, I'm drained. Wow, I'm this, I'm that. The power of noticing is what helps me align. But it's been a journey to self-love, because yes, I do many things. I am in the world of coaching and strategic coaching as well. I am with my academy training people and, going all over the world to give these trainings and retreats. And then I'm in the business world as well. But I've always been an artist in that sense that I'm going to do many things, many passions. I'm not going to focus on just one thing, but it means that I have to pick and choose who I work with. And that is also an advantage that I have, that I have the chance and the opportunity to pick and choose who I work with when I work with them. So the way that I organize my life and my year, for example, is, well, right now, wow, what a blessing. We're here in Lisbon, you know, and we are exploring this connection. And at the same time, I'm here because I'm coaching people, and that's it. So I compartmentalize and I isolate periods or seasons in a year where I'm solely focused on one thing, and then I can change hat or outfit and go from, you know, the business world to the coaching world very easily. Otherwise, if I try to do it all at once, I can't contain it, and I can't do it with the same level of energy or passion or creativity that I know I can bring to the table when I'm fully focused on one thing.
Energy came to my mind. That's probably also, as you said, you can choose who you want to work with and at what time, that it fits also your life, where you're at, that this is then protecting your own energy, right? It's less draining than just being kind of going anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. You mentioned seasons and there's something you said the other day, that is that you feel like you've been in hibernation, even though from outside it may look like you have a really active life. Yeah, so is that hibernation also something that you have put into your, let's say, year? I mean, it happens naturally depending on where you live. There's a winter phase, and what kind of species you are. But have you chosen to be in a hibernating state, and how does that look for you? And is spring coming, or does it have to come?
Does it have to come? It's like a long winter, you know. Right now, that's what it feels like, and I feel like I've been in this hibernation for about 18 months, and yes, from the outside, I mean, you look at me, you're like, oh my gosh, like she's just go and won't stop. But believe me, if some people who really know me, and are like, wow, no, this is a very slow version of Genevieve in what she's doing or putting out there in the world. But these seasons are very needed as the act of self-love. And it's not something that we discuss a lot in that scene, or as a creator, as an influencer, as a coach. And I think it's so important because in the world of social media, where we are bombarded with content all the time, if from the outside we're like, wow, we need to be in output mode all the time, that is not sustainable. Yeah. And I hit that mark about 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, wait, I want to recalibrate to what I'm passionate about so that I can bring the next iteration of my work into the world. Like, I'm incubating, I'm pregnant with something right now, and I need to rest. I can't, take care of everything at the same time. So I'm seeing this winter, and it keeps like, I feel like I'm seeing the spring, and then there's little what do we call this? Little blooms. And then we go back into longer winter. But it's coming to a full bloom. I feel that within the next year, it's going to be there. So I really trust that, and I'm super excited about it. But I'm also really enjoying hibernation. And that is very important as women to speak about, and as any human to speak about the sacredness of the winter. The sacredness of the nothingness, the sacredness of deep listening, to really find an aligned calling and bring something into the world, not out of need, necessity, but really from passion and purpose. And that's, I'm really keen on walking my talk. So I can't teach this without doing it. So even my students are like, when is the next thing? Are we going to Hawaii? When are we going to Bali again? Like, what are we doing? What's the next training? And I'm like, hold on still. And when it's ready, you're going to know, you're going to feel it, and people are going to magnetize to it. So for any entrepreneur out there, that's kind of my message. It's like, when you feel that you need a sacred pause, can you love yourself enough and love your baby, your creation enough to give it what it needs at that time, and to give yourself what you need at that time?
That's so beautiful. I'm a big advocate of winter as well. So that's really resonated with me. I don't know, we're coming from Canada and Switzerland originally. We're probably familiar with winter also from a real seasonal, in that sense, nature sense. But really that coziness and that going within and allowing oneself to be in that state and also enjoying what it brings, even if it's, even with the stillness, really making space for that.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
That stillness, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, the stillness is what helps me determine what is necessary and what is not necessary. So really stilling the mind and seeing, what is really calling me, or what is the priority, the next priority for this, and for that. And I think that is the asset, and that's the ninja-ness of my personality. And the reason I can do so many things in the world is that it's not without purpose, it's not without thinking, it's very strategic, but it comes from that deep place of stillness.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I have felt that you have brought a lot of stillness, even though we were talking, but the energy that's been coming from you is very calming. So thank you so much. I would like to just, stop with that and become really still, not even talk anymore. Thank you so much, Genevieve, for being with us today in your presence.
Pleasure.
Thanks, everyone. If you liked today's episode, it would mean the world to us if you like it and share it with anyone that could need a boost in courage or stillness. We would also love to hear from you. What are your reflections, your dreams and visions? Share them with us in the comments, and let's keep creating healthy, functional firsts together. I'll see you next first time. Until then, all my love and courage. Ciao.